To July 30th, 2024, Season 3, Episode 212 of Non Sequitur News. I am Mayor Watt, and that is the sentient AI's visualizer.
Good evening, hometown citizens. Welcome to Non Sequitur News.
And today we're going to be talking about, 10 articles that we've all set up, but everything is powered by ohmtown.com, so check this out. So welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about Snitch Lane in Australia to upload dash cam footage. Food hygiene inspections delayed. We just talked about that yesterday. Photo tagging settlement. Advanced AI voice mode. Logitech Premium Forever Mice. Pulled first game due to lost source code. Streamer violates embargo. The purple track. From Spark to Spectacle. And Flamin' Hot Cheetos lawsuit. Oh, I did the intro already. So let's just jump right on into today's articles. First article is over in Non Sequitur News. Australian police open Snitch portal for drivers to upload dashcam footage of moving violations. Wow.
Okay, this is kind of one of these things that might sound good, but then it makes me think that people are going to start recording more just for this.
All kinds of stuff is going to get sent in. I have a hot S. Anyway, low-key vigilantism in the new Crime Stoppers. The author says that they're pretty ambivalent about this law enforcement effort with the emphasis on lack of effort. But this is how things are going in one part of Australia right now. And apparently there's Autopian has article about it, and it was covered by Canberra Times. Australian Capital Territory Police have created a new online portal to help crack down on traffic crimes. That's right. Before we get into it, so Tim Cushing is the author over at techdirt.com, and it's being written from the Be the Cop You Want to See in the World department.
They always have a unique department in Tech Dirt.
Mm-hmm. So the move has already netted significant results. Since the portal opened in May, police have received 132 reports and issued 25 traffic infringements in turn. ACT Police, Australian Capital Territory Police, have produced a compilation video noting that over $7,000 in fines have been issued under the scheme. A further 35 drivers have received caution notices, while 6 matters are pending investigation. So how much is that portal? How much did that portal cost?
Well, exactly. I mean, presumably less than that, and so maybe it's already been paid for.
So it says in terms of law enforcement deficiency, going 25 for 132 is a pretty solid batting average. Sure, it's only rechecks math. 0.189, yeah, okay. But that's well above the Mendoza line when it comes to crime solving. Granted, this isn't like solving murders or LOL, helping some poor taxpayer recover their stolen goods. But being able to issue 25 tickets without having to do much more than run a plate and attach a screenshot to a form letter sounds like a pretty good use of cop desk jockeys' times. Yeah, so
Yeah, but then it's going to be like, oh, I don't like that driver. I'm going to send that one in. Or I like that driver. I just see some potential for problems here.
sure, I mean, you're going to get disparate treatment. I'm pretty sure that they're going to find, like this Ranger. It says Ranger on it, but it could be a Ranger as in a police vehicle. I can't tell. I didn't hit play on this, but let's say it's a police vehicle and somebody catches them doing a moving violation. I'm sure that they're going to send a ticket to themselves. It says, while I'm never one to encourage private surveillance to fill the gaps of government surveillance, something like this seems okay. even while recognizing it might encourage people to abandon their own safe driving to become freelance traffic cops. Yeah. That's kind of how I
Yeah,
feel about it. Like, why?
I feel like they're going to go over the top trying to get this, and in the process, they're going to be the problem.
Yep.
I kind of like it though, because, for instance, there's never a police officer there when somebody's doing, I don't mean something like they're driving a mile too fast, but I mean something really horrendous, like they can't stay in a lane or whatever it is. And this might be a way to get some of those drivers off the road, but I
Yep.
still see a potential for problems.
Yeah, I definitely see this as being a problem because they're not actually being able, if a person fights this, they're not able to actually face their accuser.
Exactly. And I think that's where this is going to have some problems if anybody pursues it.
Right. And I have the right to face my accuser. Depending on the even if I am guilty of it, you know, context actually matters. But hey, let's keep going. The next article is over in Hedge Ideas. Delays in food hygiene inspections, a serious public health issue. 1 in 5 restaurants and takeaways not inspected in more than 2 years, according to an investigation. This is over at BBC, though. So, yeah, doesn't matter, right? Just kidding. So, Rachel
It might for
Stonehouse.
anybody in or around the UK.
Yeah, really. So, Rachel Stonehouse, Paul Lynch, Paul Bradshaw, and Pilar Tomas, apparently the Pauls, consumers, they put the article together for BBC.com. So the Public Services Union Unison said that it was a serious public health issue, that these inspections are now so delayed that it's perfectly possible for food businesses with shoddy hygiene practices to operate with little fear of ever being caught. Well, they'll be caught. It'll just take 2+ years. Despite the pressures the sector has faced in recent years, the safety of our customers remains non-negotiable. Something that's full of detritus. Steph Holloway and her partner both had food poisoning after eating out last year.
I don't quite see the connection. That's a non sequitur.
This picture?
Right, but it does connect to the article, but the content doesn't.
No, not at all. So the 36-year-old from Huddersfield suffered from
Oh,
suspected food poisoning.
it does. I'm sorry.
I mean, it
I got
does
it
and it
mixed
doesn't.
up with the previous, but yeah.
That, yeah, they're like, it's just this random picture from what looks like a car show or something. So they walked in, thought it was very clean. This isn't very clean. We just said, oh, let's eat. It'll be fine. But it wasn't. Now, if you walk in and you go, this isn't very clean, you might as well bounce. I said it the other day, and yeah, I kind of regret eating there. But it actually gave us another metric for my theory of if you see little white tables out in front of an establishment, it's gonna go under within 5 years. If you see nobody in a a sports bar at 6 p.m., nobody. We're talking crickets. Not even the only person that was in the place was the person who seated us. You want to just leave. Yeah, that place is going to go under too. So less than 5 years, folks. Calling it now. Anyway, Steph and her boyfriend noticed the tray used to serve the poppadoms was extremely dirty. It was just full of detritus. It looked like it had sat in someone's cupboard for 10 years. Yeah.
Okay, I think I would have left. I mean, yeah.
This person looks like a hygiene inspector. They're like in a clean suit or something. I don't know.
Well, they must need to be.
I suppose. Anyway, hygiene inspector Nicola Carrington says that many people her age are not aware of the profession.
Well, apparently the inspections never occur, so how would they have ever encountered it?
Yeah, nobody knows. What is that? Wait, you actually look at. See, here in the US, there's somebody that goes around and makes sure that the little flag is up, right? That it says A or F.
Right, and the certificate, I think, is updated pretty regularly.
Yeah, I thought so too. They do inspections all the time. And they can just walk in and stick a thermometer in something.
Right, they can do unscheduled, which I think is a good thing for things that require safety aspects.
Sir, I am not here for your inspection. Take that out. Anyway, the majority of the time, people are surprised when they walk in. They say, "You're a bit young, aren't you?" And that's when I say, "You know what? You take your ageist ass out of here." That's not what they say. Anyway, they say people just don't know how to get into it. I don't hear anyone speaking about it at college or at university. They're doing something different each day. Every food business owner is different. You get to meet so many different people. You don't know what you're going to expect. Life is like a box of chocolates in a dirty, unhygienic food source. You don't know what you're going to get, but it's a good chance you're going to get food poisoning.
I don't think, yeah, like I'm not sure where the reward is for that profession.
Yeah, I don't know. Here's some free food.
Oh,
No.
no, no, no. I guess it's that you saved an entire city from being sick or something.
That's
I
right.
mean, if you did your job well.
Yep. Some people race into burning buildings. Other people make sure that you wash your damn hands. You dirty, dirty humans. BBC analysis of more than 250,000 public records on the Food Standards Agency website has found more than 53,000 had not been inspected since 2021. 3 years. In Scotland, which runs
During
a...
a pandemic, which is probably worse.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Post-pandemic. This is horrible. In Scotland, which runs a pass or fail food hygiene scheme, nearly 40... They make that sound so dirty in and of itself. A food hygiene scheme. Anyway, nearly 40% of businesses were last assessed more than 2 years ago. People get all pissy about it. Why would I want to go and check? Well, I mean, other than it's my job, but why would I want to check on really pissy people? You know
But
what?
as a consumer, I would want these inspected very regularly.
But if a business keeps on poisoning people, eventually they'll go under, right? Because nobody will show up.
No, I think the problem is that the same customers won't show up, but other people might not know.
Oh, okay. So a long-term decline in council food safety funding and a 15% drop in hygiene inspection staff over the past decade have left town halls struggling to assess businesses in time. In April 2021, the backlog stood at 77,000 businesses waiting in an inspection in England, Wales, Northern Ireland, which is double the usual level. Where's all that money going?
So I don't know, but I think if anybody's looking for a job, they should give this a serious thought. There aren't enough people to do the work.
There's not enough money to hire them.
Touche.
So Phoebe Clay is director of Unchecked UK, a collection of organizations that campaign for better consumer regulation. She urged the new Labour government to boost funding to councils. Yeah, so this is in the UK, but we talk about US news a lot. And so every once in a while, we talk about something that happens outside of the US, mainly because we're not so different, y'all. This is the
No,
same
and I
problem
think
that takes
this could
place here.
be happening in any country.
Yep, like this one.
Plus, not all of our viewers and listeners are from the US.
That's true. So, welcome to ohmTown, everybody. This article's over in Technology Today. Texas says that Meta is going to pay $1.4 billion to settle a photo tagging lawsuit. Meta is the company behind Facebook. So, Meta has agreed to pay $1.4 billion to settle a lawsuit accusing it of violating a Texas state privacy law with a feature for tagging friends in Facebook's photos section, according to a deal finalized Tuesday. That's weird. Anyway,
Yeah, I mean, is that like where the platform does that automatically or something without um consent of the, I mean, certainly not consent of the other people, but not even with consent of the user or something?
I think the person who posts it has the ability to do the tagging, and anybody else can roll up to it and go, this person is this person is that. I don't like it. but I never used it and I never uploaded photos. So, and my account on Facebook, if it exists, it's been stagnant since like year 2 of Facebook. So the lawsuit said Meta did not get users' permissions before enabling its software to, it automatically recognized and tagged people in pictures. So $1.4 billion. Wow.
Well, I think this is a step in the right direction. And I do think sometimes when individual states go after these big tech companies, that does benefit sometimes users
So,
in other states.
my problem with the balkanization of all of these states is that if the object of this is, well, we shouldn't be beholden to the federal government for law enforcement, it should be the states. Just how far freaking down that ladder do you want to go? Because the reality is there's millions of people in each state except for Wyoming. And even there's hundreds of thousands of people in a given region. So why am I beholden to the entirety of the state? Because you arbitrarily dictated that that's where you wanted to draw the line. But the reality is
Well,
cities.
this state has a law, though, that they can use. So maybe that's the difference. Maybe there isn't a corresponding federal one.
Well, my problem isn't about this. My problem is that each state has this balkanized array of laws that gets impressed on people. And if I don't want to have to be bound by that state law, I go to a different state for whatever. Then the state that I'm actually a resident in holds sway over my legal disposition in another state. You might think that, well, what are you getting at? What are you getting at? If I want medical treatment and I go to a neighboring state because the state I'm in is batshit crazy, then I can be charged with something because I left the state. Why am I bound to the state, but the state isn't bound to the federal government? Why do people want to sit there and go, let's balkanize all of the states? Well, what about all of the cities inside it? Why not balkanize it all the way down to the street that I'm on? Why can't we all agree that there's certain things that we should have absolute rights to and not balkanize it this much? So,
Because we don't live in a world where people want to agree with each other.
well, as much as I want to sit there and say that this is a thought experiment, rhetorical question time. That's basically why I asked the question. I know very well that it seems to be impossible for two people to agree that that color is blue. Look, it's blue. No, it's navy. Come on. Anyway, so they say that they're proud to announce that they've reached the largest settlement ever obtained from an action brought by a single state. Yay! I've made my bones. I can become governor now. Meta rolled out the photo tagging feature in 2011, running facial recognition on photos uploaded to Facebook without asking users to consent. And this has happened before. They ran an experiment on the psychological state of users more than a decade ago. And they manipulated people into being unhappy to the point where they actually lashed out online. People who received negative nudes were radicalized to a certain state, emotional contagion, and people who were given positive news, we don't know, other than maybe they posted smiley faces. But still, the people who received negative news weren't necessarily bound to that limit online. Maybe they went out and got into a fight. Maybe their relationship turned sour. But 700,000 people were manipulated by Facebook. And it's the same shit.
Big tech is pretty much untouchable.
Certainly seems that way. Let's move on. My soapbox gets too high in the time machine sometime and I fall over. So the next article is over in Technology Today. OpenAI rolls out advanced voice mode, and no, it won't sound like ScarJo. It didn't sound like it before, but people imagined it did.
But they'll label it as her.
Oof.
Too
Tweeted
soon.
too soon. Tweeted too soon. Yep. So in an announcement on Twitter, the company said that the advanced feature of its voice mode offers more natural real-time conversations, allows you to interrupt anytime, and senses and responds to your emotions.
Sounds like her.
Sounds like the next relationship. So OpenAI has started rolling out its advanced voice mode feature. The article is over at Engadget, and Washenko put the article together. Yeah, people were up in arms about this because it sounded like ScarJo. Yeah. The release date for the advanced voice mode was delayed shortly after the backlash, even though the company insisted that the voice actor was not imitating Johansson's performance. The similar sounding voice has since been taken out. And that's all there is to this
so
article.
it really won't sound like ScarJo.
Yeah, it won't even sound any near close, apparently. Watch, it sounds like Pee Wee Herman.
I'm just going to say maybe it sounds like the other character from her.
Joe Scar.
I have no idea what that voice is.
It's going to be Joe Scar. So Logitech is looking into premium forever mice and new subscription software. Logitech's new CEO, Hanneke Faber, is flirting with the idea of selling the company's popular computer mice via a new business model, a forever mouse tied to a subscription service. But this, I think, is being taken out of context.
Because it sounds like about the worst idea ever.
Well, it sounds like it's impossible because I don't need... In the most basic setup, you don't need software to run your mice. It really depends.
No, but if we can sell you a subscription, then we can make more money from each person.
True. So Logitech's new Hanneke Faber, basically they had an interview with The Verge's Neelay Patel on the Decoder Show, and she went into some detail. And people have been talking about this. This happened right around the time I went to the conference, and so I couldn't actually talk about it without using the time machine. So that's why we're here talking about it now. But basically, the idea that they were aligning this with was that you basically buy a mouse and everything is so damn perfect, you never buy another mouse, which is basically, the only reason I have any other mouse other than the Microsoft trackball. I like trackballs. That's what I use. Therein lies the rub too, because I don't want to use a mouse, so she wouldn't get me as a customer, and I don't like Logitech mice. So
you don't think trackballs are going to go to this too?
No. This company doesn't even like facilitating an actual good experience, but I like trackballs so much I tolerate it. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, they have this discussion with Neelay Patel about this mouse being perfect. And so you only buy the one. And because it's so good, the only way for them to make any long-term money is to force a subscription. That actually came out as a part of the discussion, not really like this is what we're doing. Neelay Patel basically walked her down this path by saying, well, the only way that you could sell this one mouse and then still have a business is by doing this or this. And so she said, well, yeah, I mean, it's an option.
Right. So this is the impetus of it when we see this roll out.
Yeah, Neelay Patel. That's who you should blame. No. So just so I play catch up with this, the article is over at pocket-lint.com, and John Kanalakos put the article together. And it says here, Logitech's new CEO is intrigued by the idea of a forever mouse business model. This would involve selling higher-end computer mice to consumers alongside a prescription, a subscription-based. You'd have to be on a prescription to think that
Yeah,
this is a
you'd
good
need a
idea.
prescription to deal with all these subscriptions.
Yeah. Um, and such a software suite would receive regular updates and feature enhancements. But here's the thing. What other features could you add? Macros, those are already included in basic software. Programmable buttons, aka macros, right?
This is going to
Speeding it
be
up and
heated
slowing it
seats
down.
2.0, right?
That's exactly it, right? You have all of the hardware. We're going to disable every other button click until you pay the subscription fee. Well, kiss my ass. There's other competitors out there. I'll go buy a mouse or a keyboard all day long from anyone other than Logitech. And I don't even like hearing about this because it sours me to Logitech even more. I like their cameras. You give me a subscription to turn on the camera and I will.
No, worse than that, to see your own video.
Oh, right. Yeah. Everybody else can see it, but I can't until I pay the subscription. Got it. Yeah. But this is I think that it's an attention getter. I don't think that it's a reality. I don't think it'll ever be a reality. There might be a feature where it's tied to a subscription because it's something like a live service that allows you to do something. I don't know what.
Stop killing mice.
Yeah, now it's stop killing mice. Yeah, pretty much stop killing anything. Stop killing. God. Anyway, let's keep moving. The next article is over in Warcrafters. Indie studio pulls its first game from Steam after realizing it lost the source code. We had no established routine to back up our data. So last week, a news post appeared on the Steam page for Quantum Lock, an asymmetrical game of cyberspace freeze tag from 2015 and the first game released by indie developer Fat Bomb Studios. Well, the news was grim. While Quantum Lock had been a big milestone, the studio said that it created at a time when we understood version control. Before we understood version control software. Fat Bomb was delisting Quantum Lock because, in the year since its release, the source code had been lost. So without the source code, any issues, bugs, or worst of all, potential security vulnerabilities might never get patched because they don't have the source code to patch them.
Is this a reasonable thing to occur? I don't think I've ever heard of this from a game studio.
Studio? I'm glad that you threw that on there because I've lost source code before. So Lincoln Carpenter over at PCGamer.com put the article together. Heartbreaking testament to the importance of backups. And I've actually, I've failed in backups multiple times over my years. Mainly
but there's
because
a difference in trying to back up and having a tech failure versus never thinking to back up or something.
Yeah, in this particular instance, it should have been part of the studio. But when you're a small indie developer, you don't worry about that kind of stuff because, yeah, it's kind of. I start likening it to. I start likening it to Home Depot's cybersecurity chief going, "Now we sell hammers. Who's going to hack us?" And then it gets brought down. Well, that's kind of what goes on here. Are we really going to need that source code? Yeah, you should probably have it on a hard drive somewhere. But you can easily lose a piece of code because you don't think that it's either going to go missing or you need to make changes to it. Like the stuff that I would need to launch an old business, I'd never be able to because somewhere it exists on a hard drive, but I'd have to start over from scratch essentially. So without the source code, any bugs, any issues, they say potential security vulnerabilities that players might discover in Quantum Lock can't be addressed. If it's a multiplayer game, then it actually has great potential for security related issues. Aaron Leeton, co-founder of Fat Bomb Studios, had been seeking inspiration when he returned to his studio's first game after 8 years away. The game garnered a peak of 10 concurrent users, which was most likely friends of theirs that they had convinced to test the game. We had fixed all the issues we ran into and no external bug reports, so we moved on. Yeah, now they want to go
Oh,
back.
that's fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah, that's too bad. But everything that they've learned in that time frame, now they can go back, rebuild Quantum Lock. Perhaps they'll be able to turn it around. But yeah, I've been there, and it's heartbreaking when you lose source code and you find out later, much later, wow, this, because sometimes when you're an early mover, you're so early that the world just isn't ready for it, and then later on, oh man, this is the right time for it. So I would love to work. I've got a project that I would love to kick off, but I would have to. Now is the time to do it, but there's no way, right? Like my source code is so old, and I would have to dedicate so much time to bring it back. So this happens. Let's see here. It says your first game is most likely to flop. Leighton said, "No one is good at anything in the beginning, save for savants. Game development is a skill that has been developed over time through a healthy dose of failure." So now they say use Google Drive for backups. Yep. All right, let's keep moving. The next article is over in Warcrafter's incensed Japanese visual novel author vows legal action against streamer for violating the broadcast embargo, then vanishing into the night without even saying sorry. That's the may earn
Yeah,
an
that's like
award
a
in
whole paragraph almost.
longest title. So the developer of a Japanese visual novel by the name of Apathy Murder Club has decided to pursue legal action after a streamer broadcast the game against a requested embargo date on its Steam page. Apathy Murder Club, a visual novel created by Shannon and authored by Takiya, is it Lejima or Ijima? Is that an I?
I think it's an I.
Ijima? So released into Steam or onto Steam earlier this month. However, as reported by Automaton, Ijima quickly noted that a streamer had streamed it for several hours from the first day of release through several different endings. Says this is more than a simple faux pas, though. Yeah. I mean, if they missed, it should have been splattered across the loading screen to not stream this until X day. So you have an embargo to stop people from streaming it.
Oh, okay.
Harvey Randall over at PCGamer.com put an article together. The reason why I'm so thorough is because I want to protect the future creators. I don't know what thorough means in this context, but so unfortunately the streamer streamed multiple endings, which last year the YouTuber in the country's Miyagi prefecture was arrested for uploading a video of Steins Gate Hiyoku Renri no Daran that spilled the ending of the game, and he was later convicted in court. Apathy Murder Club, a visual novel created by Shannon and authored by Takiya Ijima, released onto Steam earlier this month, but somebody streamed it, and I don't know if it actually says who it was, but they say they disappeared into the night.
Yeah, it doesn't say, I don't think.
Yeah, not so far. It says it should also be noted that Steins Gate, the series someone was physically arrested over, is a popular franchise. As of 2015, it broke 1 million total copies sold, which, 2015. So the developers of Apathy Murder Club, if the Steam traffic is anything to go by, are much smaller, though it should be noted that Apathy Murder Club is a limited time project released as a thank you with the studio's previous title, Apathy Narugami Kaguen Nana Fushigi. Meeting with enough success on the Nintendo Switch to prompt its existence. Wow. So it just says no official apology. Dun dun dun. If I say I'm consulting a lawyer, I'll seriously take it to court, so there's no point in running away. If you're a fan of mine, you know that very well. The reason why I'm so thorough is because I want to protect the future creators. Even if this person never does this to me again, they will look for other small and weak prey. Newborn creators who cannot resist should not be caught in the poisonous fangs of such unscrupulous people. Wow.
Wow. I mean, this person sounds like they're a good author. They're actually selling their product as they're making their commentary.
Might have to go and look at the visual novel. Huh. Go check it out, folks. Let's keep moving. The next article is over in Reality Hacker. The purple track at the 2024 Summer Olympic Games has a secret ingredient. Recycled shells of mollusks native to the Mediterranean Sea were used to manufacture the synthetic floor of the athletics track as part of the game's commitment to sustainability. I know about this. This purple comes, like royal purple, comes from the shells from very specific mollusks.
Oh, interesting. Like for paints or other purposes?
Dyes and stuff. Yeah. And it comes from an island, like off the coast. Yeah. I watched some documentary or something about it. I don't know. I don't remember. Anyway, so the article is by George Gary over at wired.com. And dun dun dun, they have a picture of the track. But anyway, it says traditionally the athletics track and the Olympic stadium is red. However, at the 2024 Summer Olympics, it's purple to match the event colors chosen by the Paris Organizing Committee. But there's another difference. It's made with recycled shells produced by the fishing industry as part of the 2024 Olympics commitment to sustainability. Resilient flooring, such as running track flooring, is made of calcium carbonate. Really?
Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Which is usually obtained through mining. Instead, the company that designed the track in 2024 Summer Olympics, Mondo, teamed up with a fishers cooperative to gather shells of bivalve mollusks from the Mediterranean Sea, such as mussels and clams, which are rich in the mineral. The shells would have otherwise gone to waste. That is really interesting.
It's a lot more eco-friendly, right? And it's really more vibrant, but they're not mining. They're recycling materials that I guess are pretty much just going to decompose.
Yep. So they grind it into a fine powder and then sent the material to the flooring manufacturer to make the track. The scientists in charge of the project worked on perfecting the technique for 3 years. Let's see. I'm trying to find... Yeah, according to Mondo, the construction of a track using biogenic calcium carbonate offsets the emissions of a Euro 4 diesel vehicle driving 60,000 kilometers. The project serves as a forward-looking example of a long-term commitment to sustainability and local community. Interesting.
Yeah, that's very neat.
So, yeah, different places use different technologies. Who knew? Well, they knew. I didn't.
Right, but the average person probably doesn't know.
Yeah, like in Tokyo, the top of the track was composed of 3D rubber granules that worked together with a system of polymers placed on the top layer. And with this, athletes were expected to achieve greater speed. And indeed, this was the stage on which the Jamaican track and field athlete Elaine Thompson Hara won gold in the women's 100-meter race with a time of 10.61 seconds. See, the problem here is if you start changing the physics of the track, you're not... It's no longer the athlete.
That was okay, right?
Right.
I'm glad that they're doing it, but are they going to make this the new standard, for instance?
Right. Yeah, not all things are equal now. Interesting. All right, let's keep trucking. We have many, many, many days to go still. Oh my gosh. Oof. All right, well, the next article is over on Technology Today from Spark to Spectacle. This one will be quick, I think. California's park fire outsides Los Angeles in days. Is it still going? Do you know?
I think it is at last check.
Yeah, we're in the time machine, so we know that it's going in the time machine. But when we get out of the time machine after this show, so the Northern California blaze expanded at lightning speed amid record heat and high winds, leaving behind a vast burned area.
So it's covered more than 400,000 acres and it's only 30% contained
Oh
as
my
of
God.
current date.
That's a week later, right?
Hmm.
Wow. So NASA Earth Observatory, Lindsay Dorman put the article together. Again, this is a time machine episode, so we're not making up the news, but we're going back in time to
We're
tell the news
catching
of the
up,
day.
right?
Yeah, we're catching up with the news. So all of the smoke is from a burned area, and it moves so fast that it surprised people. Not necessarily not in the know, but it was so hot and dry that it spread very fast. In a matter of days, the park fire in Northern California more than doubled in area in late July 2024. It quickly became the state's seventh largest wildfire on record. As of July 29th, it was the largest active fire in the United States. The operational Land Imager 2 on Landsat 9 captured the images above, which, if you follow the link through ohmTown, you'll find it through the links in the show notes. They'll be posted after the show. You can go over to YouTube and check it out there. Normally, I would post these in between shows, and you'd be able to just type in exclamation point show notes or exclamation point pod or exclamation point NSN for the show notes specific to non sequitur news. But because we're in the time machine, it doesn't really matter. Anyway, so the park fire ignited around 3 p.m. local time on July 24th. It's still going, even outside of our time machine. So a week later, it's still going. Actually, so
It's been running for
2
more than a
weeks.
week total because it started on July 24th.
Yeah, and it's 8-4 outside of the time machine. So the next day, when the images were acquired, the burned area had ballooned from 165,000 acres to 307 acres, larger than the city of Los Angeles, according to Cal Fire. But 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 climate change isn't real. I don't believe. Let's keep going. The next article is over in Non Sequitur News as well. A former PepsiCo exec sued the company for saying that he didn't invent Flamin' Hot Cheetos while working as a janitor. A former PepsiCo exec sued the company for fraud and defamation after it said that he didn't invent Flamin' Hot Cheetos.
So this is an interesting claim, right?
Yep. Richard Montanez said he proposed the idea while working as a janitor and ultimately rose through the company's ranks, but PepsiCo told the LA Times in 2021 the facts do not support the urban legend. Brutal. Grace Dean over at Business Insider put the article together. Let's see here. I'm curious though. But an
The
explosive.
more interesting takeaway, I think, is that if this person started as a janitor and became an exec, that is a pretty interesting rise through the company.
Yeah, so they say right out of the gate here, Richard Montanez has frequently spoken of his rags to riches story, from starting out as a janitor to pitching the idea for Flamin' Hot Cheetos, to PepsiCo's CEO, to becoming an executive himself at the drink and snack giant, which formed the basis of his successful career as a motivational speaker. He published a memoir in 2021, and his life story was made into the film Flamin' Hot in 2023.
Oh, interesting.
So let's see here. But in an explosive Los Angeles Times investigation in 2021 claimed to debunk his claims about the origin of the Flamin' Hot flavor, supported by evidence from PepsiCo. Montanez has filed a 6-count lawsuit against his former employer on July 18th, accusing it of fraud and defamation for making the comments to the publication. So he was working as a janitor at Frito-Lay factory in Rancho Cucamonga, California. You have to say it like that, no matter what. During his time at the company, he experimented with making various flavored snacks at home to potentially pitch to the company, according to the lawsuit. But his big break came when a machine in the factory broke and he was able to take home a batch of unflavored Cheetos, which he dusted with chili powder to try to replicate the flavor of elote, Mexican grilled corn with chili powder per the chili powder per the lawsuit. In 1999, Montana's set up a meeting with. 1991, Montana's set up a meeting with PepsiCo CEO Roger Enrico to present his idea for spicy Cheetos. He liked the idea so much that he ordered PepsiCo to start making spicy Cheetos. Dun dun dun. Interesting, right?
It is interesting. It was released in 1992. I mean, at least kind of tracks with the time frame, but we don't know whether this person did it or not.
So, they say that the facts don't line up, though. In 2021, the Los Angeles Times published an investigation that seemed to debunk Montana's claims. More than a dozen former Frito-Lay employees, as well as the company itself, told the outlet that Montana's wasn't behind the development of the Flamin' Hot flavor. We do not credit the creation of Flamin' Hot Cheetos or any Flamin' Hot products to him. Ouch. And that he wasn't involved in any capacity in the product's test market. The facts do not support the urban legend. Wow.
Well, I wonder what it is.
See, but the thing about it is, if he had the meeting, if he pitched the idea, the flavor may not have been exactly the same one. But if he did have the meeting, like
recreated what he said, but
yeah,
apparently this person that he met with didn't become CEO until after the product was launched.
6 months.
But that doesn't mean he didn't have a meeting with him. He might have been in another title or something.
Yeah, that's interesting. Enrico, the PepsiCo leader that in Montana said he met to pitch the product, didn't become CEO until nearly 6 months after Flamin' Hot Cheetos were launched in test markets. The Times reported. To me, that person was in the line to become CEO.
Could have been acting.
Yeah.
They're now the CEO.
Whatever their role was.
Would have identified him as the CEO.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that has a bearing on it one way or the other.
Yeah, this is kind of brutal. The lawsuit says that the article made potential business partners and members of the public distrustful of Montana's to the detriment of his livelihood and mental health. This includes a significant drop in public booking and speaking bookings. Yeah, because they're basically saying that his story's bullshit.
What I'd like to know is how he became an exec. Like, what does the company say about how or why he became an exec?
Yeah, I mean, if everything else lines up,
well, right. Like, typically, you wouldn't move from a janitor to an exec. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's unlikely. So that's why I'm curious why he would suddenly move up through the company.
Yeah, what was the progression? And if the progression lines up, I mean, why would a janitor end up being able to pitch something to somebody who ultimately does become CEO? You know what I'm saying? I mean,
this is interesting.
Yeah. So I guess we'll have to see what happens with this thing. Because there's going to be...
You know who's going to know the most is going to be, I forgot his name.
Enrico?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, the CEO. So where is that person? They don't really mention anything, right?
Right. I mean, we don't even know if they're still around or...
Yeah, they just say the PepsiCo leader. What does that mean? The PepsiCo leader. He became CEO nearly 6 months after Flamin' Hot Cheetos were launched. Yeah, tell me he didn't have something very directed, right? Like he went and talked to this guy, and Rico goes and tells somebody, hey, we need to start making these. Even if they do design it with a bunch of snack food professionals, you have to anyway, because...
Right, where was the idea from? And yeah.
Right. Yeah. And having been through a process like this where a company will take your idea and run with it. And you're basically going, okay, what am I supposed to do with this? Because ideas alone, they can't be protected. But then, 30 years later, they end up doing it. And having been through the process of working with a business, and then later they say, well, we don't take outside ideas, outside consultants. Yet they take your idea and they run with it. Yeah.
Right. Doesn't mean they don't make the same or very similar thing.
Yep. Well, I'm going to take my bag of unflavored Cheetos and throw some spices on it, and that'll bring us back to the front page of ohmtown.com. We can nom on this for a little while. You can too. Go over to ohmtown.com and become a citizen. I have to do something. I have to do an update to the mobile portion, the mobile interface, because there was a recent update that pulled the login off of the main menu. I noticed it at the conference, but I couldn't fix it. Anyway, but on the browser on your iPad or on your phone, you can still surf the news, as well as obviously you can sign up right now in your browser. Go over to ohmtown.com. Just if you request the desktop version of it, you'll be able to sign up or sign in. But right now, anyway, that's it for today. We're gonna shut down the time machine and then restart, and we're gonna do the 31st of July, and we're gonna play catch up of all of the non sequitur news. They'll get turned into podcasts as well as moved over to YouTube. We're only streaming live to Twitch today, but it'll all get moved over so that people on YouTube don't get dinged twice, once for the live stream and once for the update. And then instead of doing all 7 of the 6 weekly shows, we're going to just do non sequitur news and then reassess. It's probably going to be too late to do all of the weekly shows, so we'll do them over this coming week as we approach next week, and we'll do all 7 shows like we normally do on Sunday, and that'll be our full day. Okay, well, anyways, that is it. And again, I was at a conference all week, so I wasn't able to. I was doing other mayoral duties. So thanks a lot. I am Mayor Watt. That is the sentient AI.
Good night, hometown citizens. Thanks for joining us for Non Sequitur News.
And my stream deck is broken. I mean, it's not communicating with it. Is this all too inside baseball? Yeah. All right. See you, everybody. Bye-bye.